Yeah.
Every day, people just like you launch global brands from their bedroom. The barriers are gone. You don't need permission.
From the perpetuator rape to the victim because of the way that they looked, how attractive they were, or what they were wearing.
Yo!
Yeah, Theo's a child. Total child. Moving on to the next guest here, y'all. Only up inside of that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. All right, guys, everyone, just do be patient while we try to get that next guest loaded up into that box, y'all. We got the next guest loading in and connecting right now. Hi, do you support Trump?
Phil's just sitting in the guest box like a little good boy.
Oh, the good boy sitting
Phil.
in the queue?
Phil.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Phil is.
Phil's been in there for an hour. I went by, so he was hosting a live before I hopped on, and I just swiped in there, and he got so mad at me. He just started yelling at me, dude. He's a little bit rude. What's up, man? How old are you?
I'm 25.
What year are you born in?
1999.
And tell me and Parker, why the hell do you still support Trump, who we would both consider to be the worst president of your life and ours?
I think what he's doing is like a strat to, I don't know. It's just people are like complaining about ICE and like that whole drama going on, but I feel like Biden was also doing the same thing with like the vaccine.
Murder is not drama.
But also, like, yeah, I'm not trying to come in here with like attack you guys or anything. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have anything against you guys. Like, politics don't define me. I just think he's doing something for the long run, if that makes sense.
Guys, if he's, well, actually, you're right, chat. You are right. Yeah, you'd be 26 minimum. Get out of here. I had a pretty big.
Yeah, they said 99. Yeah, it has to be 26 minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a pretty big brain fart there, dude. Rough.
Because 2025 is past, so.
Yeah, true that. It probably it takes me like a little bit to kind of get used to the new year, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it happened to me. Don't worry.
Yeah. What's up? Do you support Trump?
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to join. I meant to click on someone's profile. My bad.
No worries, Thomas. You have a good rest of your day, bro. Moving on to the next guest. We got Mad Chicken loading up into that box. Hello. Do you support Trump?
Hello? Yeah, I got a question for you though.
How old are you?
19.
What year were you born in?
2006.
Okay. You said you have a question. Feel free to ask.
So, what is your, how do I explain it? Like why don't you support I'm assuming you don't support like ICE and deporting illegals. I know for the fact that you said like the economy or something like that.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. The main reason isn't the economy. That just happens to be the typical first reason I bring up, because I know how much the economy is supposed to matter to Trump supporters, but I guess not. We've seen a terrible economy over the last year, and y'all are still, Mr. T-Man's ride or die. But that aside, I'd say the main reason why I don't support ICE is just the inhumanity that we've seen in the last year. Detaining 5-year-olds and then using them as decoys to grab their parents. Today, they illegally detained a 2-year-old against a release order from a judge. The murder and the defense of the murder of Renee Good, kidnapping naked children out of their beds in their Chicago suburbs, throwing them in the backs of U-Haul vans, and collectively, shipping them down to Secot in El Salvador, where we've seen many horrific stories of people being beaten, tortured, and starved. Like, it's just a very inhumane system.
So some of those I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not educated on like the 2-year-old that you mentioned. So I know some people try to defend something that they know nothing about, but I do know about the 5-year-old that you said was a decoy, which is not true.
That is true.
Because the guy's father had, if I have the story correct, and like the, what are they called? Like the reports, you know what I mean? After an incident, like the incident report, basically. So the guy actually they tried to detain him, and he actually fled the scene, leaving his 5-year-old kid. So one of the ICE agents stayed there. They then brought the child to the house, told the girl that they were not going to be arresting her, and she refused to even take her own child back into the home.
Can I just clarify? So the lawyer actually disputed that. There is no evidence other than ICE just claiming that. Just to clarify.
Well, I don't know I haven't got too far into it. I just started looking that up today.
Yeah, like that was disputed by the lawyer. They also disputed the idea that they've come into the country undocumented. They went through the CBP-1 app. The only reason why Republicans are saying it's illegal is because they disagree with the process existing under Biden's administration.
Okay. So what besides like could you guys agree that having illegals into the country is bad? Because even with no criminal record, if you are in America illegally, you now have a criminal record. And like the statistics on it. Well, I mean, yeah, because you're breaking a crime.
No, because typically undocumented entry is prosecuted inside a civil court. Civil courts don't put anything on your criminal record.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like if you come into the country through a legal pathway and then you overstay, that is then a civil violation.
So it'd be civil?
Yeah.
Okay. So
do you accept the determinations of those civil courts?
What do you mean?
Like, do you accept them to be true?
I don't honestly know enough to comment on that.
You don't know? If you don't know, then why do you think they should be deported?
I feel like any sort of country you should not be able to just say, well, I have no criminal record, so I'm allowed to be here. You know, like I feel like even if it is civil, it's still breaking the law, whether it goes on your record or not.
Well, we're actually not even disputing you there. We're just not saying that every violation of the law is necessarily enforced. Like, as long as it's not a threat to the safety and security of the population, and jaywalking in circumstances isn't going to be something that's applied. Even if like a officer sees you do it, as long as it's not going to like harm anyone, they wouldn't prevent you from doing it in most circumstances. So it's not just the case that because there's a law that means we enforce it in all circumstances. Some circumstances we don't do so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and like in this circumstance, we're saying that like there should be a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, so that we can incentivize border enforcement to focus on those that actually are a threat to the safety and security of our population, while we try to make our legal process go significantly quicker to incentivize people to go through the legal process. I think that's the best way to address a set of circumstances in terms of immigration right now that would be effective for the population.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like it should be, because I know it can take like years to like be fully legal in the U.S.
And thousands of dollars too.
Yeah. But let me get my thoughts together. I don't know. I feel like at the same time, I mean, that's the process that you have to go through. I think you should follow by that process. Because I mean, I get what you mean by like jaywalking, but coming into a country illegally is a little bit different than jaywalking, I feel like.
Well, I'm not disputing that they're different. What I'm saying, though, is that not every violation of the law is treated in such a way in which it should always be enforced. I mean, you literally voted for a convicted criminal, and he literally wasn't sent to prison because you guys voted for him for president and he was elected. So if you cared a lot about holding criminals accountable for the crimes that they commit, well, then you would, one, start with the president, and two, you'd also care about the fact that he's committing crimes, violating the law, and not releasing all the Epstein files. He's violating the law in deporting people without due process. So, I mean, we can give countless examples of how Trump doesn't give a shit about the law, thinks that he's above the law. And you can't say the same thing about Democrats.
So what is like the process behind the Epstein files? Like, I'm not crazy into that either, but
what specifically do you want to know?
Like, is it like something that he has to approve to be released? Who has it?
It's something that the DOJ. So the DOJ and the FBI have all of the Epstein files. Okay, now I would like it to be known, okay, that months ago Pam Bondi said that she requested all of the Epstein files from Kash Patel at the FBI. But then like a couple weeks ago, they said that they're uncovering new ones. So did the FBI like fail at their job in sending all the files to her months ago, or did they just kind of lie? And then something else I want to bring up here is the process is, well, the DOJ abiding by the law and releasing every single Epstein file with limited redactions for the names or faces of minors/victims. So that's a law that the DOJ is breaking. We actually heard them argue in court not even a week ago that there's not a court in America that could force them to release them because the Epstein Files Transparency Act apparently has no set consequences for breaking the law. And I feel like this is just a complete and utter failure of the Trump administration. This is a complete and utter failure of the rule of law, a failure, okay, of the DOJ. And it's just like, and it's a stain and tarnish on this country and a big middle finger to victims and survivors of sexual abuse everywhere.
And I think it shows like a huge risk with checks and balances in our current system that people like Donald Trump can threaten them.
Yeah.
Also, do you think that like undocumented immigrants should be deported because they broke the law and we need law and order?
Yeah, I would say so.
Your recent post says me heading to the liquor store instead of some stupid court appearance. So it's kind of like rules for thee, but not for me.
I had to go to court for that. So
rules for thee, but not for
sport.
Rules for thee, but not for me. Because to you, a court appearance is stupid and you don't want to go to it. But for undocumented immigrants, if they commit a victimless federal misdemeanor, they got to be deported because we need to uphold law and order. Isn't that just like blatant hypocrisy?
Yeah, but I didn't. To cover my case on that, I did not show up to court, or that actually is a true story. I did actually have to go to court for that.
What did you have to go to court for?
And you did show up, right?
Yeah, I did actually show up.
Okay.
What did you have to go to court for?
MIC. This is fucking partying, I guess.
Minor in, I don't know what an MIC is. Minor in consumption. That's what it is?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
19.
Okay, so this was a couple years ago. Okay, all right. Well, I mean, you called the court appearance stupid, so it doesn't really sound like you wanted it to. It doesn't sound like you wanted to be held accountable too badly.
Yeah, it sounds like you understand that the law doesn't make sense to be applied in some circumstances. For example, do you believe that there are some?
I'm sorry, Parker, for interrupting you. I just need to clarify that you're not saying that the law surrounding MICs is stupid, right?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Good. I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify.
No, it's not stupid.
Because I feel like I was listening to you speak, and I feel like there was like a takeaway that like bad faith actors could take into like you like calling like MIC stupid. So I just wanted to like interrupt you and have that clarified so no one could possibly take that takeaway. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. I guess he the point that he's saying is that, or I'm trying to get him to realize, is that there are some laws it makes to not enforce, right? And from a federal perspective, right, in the case of certain undocumented immigrants, right, there is no reason why they should be like deported on the condition that they're not a threat to the safety and security of our population. Right? Like, what reason would you say? What benefit do we get from deporting them rather than giving them a pathway to citizenship?
Am I good to go? I got muted, so I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, no. Backtrack a little bit. I'm not saying that it's a stupid court case. I mean, part of that is just a funny video, you know. But what was your question again?
My question or Dean's?
Yeah. I didn't know he asked a question, but I know you did.
To be honest with you, I kind of just forgot. I kind of just like was thinking about something else.
I believe it was something like why they should be deported for.
Yeah, I was asking essentially what. Oh, sorry. I was essentially asking what negative impact comes from undocumented immigration, and insofar as that you want to deport them in the situations in which they have not committed a violent crime or bad crime.
I would say just basic like laws of the land, meaning you can't do that. So if you get caught doing that, I mean, it's pretty simple. Go back, pretty much. Like the law says you cannot come here without like legal papers or legal. Sure.
Do you agree that the state has an obligation to uphold law that's beneficial for the state?
Like for a law that's state, like a state law?
I'm using state in reference to like a country or a nation. Can you agree that a nation would have an obligation to create and enforce law in which is beneficial to said nation?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
So because we
words,
agree
but,
that nations have an obligation to create and enforce law in which is beneficial to said nation, well then, tangentially speaking here, we could also agree that therefore nations would have an obligation to get rid of or revise any law that's on the books in which is detrimental to said nation, correct?
Okay.
Okay. And this is exactly why I think that we should get rid of mass deportation. I think that it's a detriment to this country and everybody in it, citizens and undocumented immigrants alike. You know, the detriment served to undocumented immigrants is pretty clear. They're getting tortured down in CCOT because of it, arrested because of their accent or the color of their skin. The detriment to citizens as well, having the social and moral fabric of this country eroded. There's some blowback on citizens because of that too, like citizens being detained, citizens being executed in broad daylight like Renee Good, and then also economically speaking, being hurt by the economically destabilizing effects of the operation as a whole. I mean, undocumented immigrants pay 1.1 through 1.7 trillion to our GDP per year, over $100 billion per year in taxes, account for 8.3 million of our laborers and 11 million of our consumers. You remove them all, you reduce GDP growth, reduce taxable revenue on top of spending $1 trillion to get it done over 10 years. And then one last point that I'll make here is maybe why we've seen such suboptimal economic outcomes in the last year, of, worst job reports since 03, most manufacturing bankruptcies since 07, so on and so forth. Right. So because this policy serves as a detriment to this land and everyone in it, we could both therefore agree that the state would have an obligation to revise it or to get rid of it.
Yeah, I'll look into it. Yeah, 100%. I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and be like, no, you're wrong. I'm not going to listen to you. You know, I'm willing. I have an open mind. I mean, I believe what I believe, and that might not change anything, but I do have an open mind for like listening. But also, I feel like, in my personal opinion, that deportation would go a lot smoother if there was more cooperation and not so much of like the country protecting people. Because if I remember right,
I'm totally fine with people exercising their First Amendment rights. And I'm also fine with fighting against the system when the system is engaging in such immoral attitudes and behaviors, like detaining illegally 2-year-olds that happened literally today, or murdering Renee Good, or going quote unquote door to door, revising their policy to actually allow them to enter into houses with no judicial warrants in violation of the 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Like, these things matter, dude. We need to fight against these things. It's our civil obligation. Like, it's so important to do so.
but I feel like no matter what, anybody that dies, it's sad. I don't agree that anybody should just be shot no matter what. I'm sure there's some people that deserve it for horrible things, but Renee Good, for one, would have been as a mother, I feel like she should have been at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, worst talking point of all time. Just because a mother wasn't at home, okay, doesn't mean that she therefore deserves to die. I don't know where that talking point came from. It's a really bad one, though.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do what.
Yeah, like the implications of that last statement that he made. Well, he's gone. Okay, bye. He just left. Hey, Parker.
I mean, I think that reasoning was ridiculous. What the heck?
Yeah. So the implication there is that if you're a mother and you're not at home, you deserve the death penalty. Stinky. That reeks of like so many different big ass issues. Let's go to get that next Trump supporter loaded up into this stream.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get off here. My girlfriend just got back. I appreciate you having me up, Dean. Thank you, man.
Enjoy your Friday night,
Have a good
bro.
Stream, bro. Thank you.
Of course, take care.
Oh, and also, there's this one guy that said you were running from him. I can't find him in the guest box because I think the guest box is full.
Okay.
But they said they like messaged you or whatever on Venmo or something.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you for letting me know. I feel like I feel like that's like maybe like every other Trump supporter, but I hope you have a good rest of your day, Parker.
Got you.
All right, take care. Hey, what's up? Do you support Trump? Hello? Show some love to Parker down below in that comment section. I appreciate him for joining. All right, let's go to get on to that next guest. Bro, Creed is still sitting inside of that queue, dude. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to go to get that next person loaded up into the box here. Only hop inside of that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. Hello, do you support Trump Steady? Hello? All right, Jay Steady's not here. Moving on to the next guest right now, folks. Only hop inside of the queue if you happen to be MAGA. Only hop inside of the queue if you happen to be MAGA. Please make sure that you're following our rules. Please make sure that you're following our rules, everyone. Okay. Let's go to move on to the next guest right now. We got, let's see here. The next guest connecting as we speak. We got Dylan loading up into the box. Y'all follow the goddamn rules of the live stream. Make sure that you're at least an American adult of the age of 18 or older that supports Donald J. Trump as president. If you happen to be in the queue. Hello, do you support Trump?
Long live Randy Stair. Long live Randy Stair.
Okay, that's some bullshit. Goodbye. Let's go to move on to the next guest right now. Don't know who that is, but not a Trump supporter here to debate me. Oh, we got that next guest, TJ, loading up into the box. Holy cow, bruh. Holy cow, dude. We've only been live for an hour. I feel like it's already been 3, man. Today's going slow just because the guests suck, bro. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
How old are you?
18.
2007. I kicking you because of your bio. Do you support Trump?
Let me fuck your tight little asshole.
Moving on to the next guest, we got Logan connecting right now. We'll also go ahead and bring Jack up. We're just trying to find literally anyone.
Hey, Dean.
Hi, do you support Trump?
Dean, where's your anxiety pin?
Okay, not here to debate. Follow the rules. It'd be highly appreciated. Follow the rules, please. Follow the rules, please. Moving on to the next guest, Serena. Boy. Okay, Serena left. Moving on to the next guest, Dave. What about Dave? Will Dave come up here and have a good conversation with me? Hello, Dave. Do you support Trump?
Yo, Dean.
Do you support Trump?
Bro, where's your Coach duffel bag? Grifter.
Oh, yeah, the Coach duffel bag. It's actually on the PJ outside. Do you support Trump?
No, bro, I'm sorry. That was mean.
Okay, you have a good rest of your day. We're looking for the next guest here, trying to find anyone who supports Donald J. Trump to come up in here and give a debate.
Dean.
It says in your bio, liberal political debater. Obviously not a Trump supporter. You do take care. Moving on to Carter. Holy shit, dude. It's going to be a long day of trolls, I guess. Hi, do you support Trump? Carter?
Let Phil up.
Okay, guys, can you have some respect for the rules? I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit more tired than usual. And I just don't really have the capacity to deal with all the trolls. Please stop trolling. This is a debate live where we want to talk to people that support Trump as president. Honor and follow those rules. Please only join the guest requests if you are an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. I just get really sick and tired of all the trolls, because we do this every day. Just a bunch of nonsense. Okay, we're still failing to find anyone to come up here and have a debate with us. It's great. Hi, do you support Trump, Lily? Lily?
Oh, hi. Yeah, so I'm British, but my dad's actually American. Like, I was born in Britain, but my dad was born in America, so he's actually American. Sorry for earlier, but yeah.
Okay. If he's with you, I could debate him.
So hold on, wait. Let me just give the phone to my dad quickly. Hold on, wait. My volume's being weird. Let me just turn my volume up. Okay, right. My dad's up.
Hi, Dean.
Hello. Hi, man.
How we doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you, dude?
Good.
So I have it understood correctly that you were born in America, then you later moved to Britain, and you now support Donald Trump as president.
Correct.
Cool, man. Do you mind if I just take a moment to thank a handful of people? Got an echo there. Big ol' echo. There we go. It went away. Do you mind if I just take a moment here to thank a handful of people that have supported me on Venmo and PayPal before we hop into the debate?
Sure, no worries.
Cool, man. I appreciate you for your patience. It's very kind of you. Hey, over on Venmo, Kylie, thank you for the $10. Who says I'm a lesbian living in Minneapolis. Hope they don't find out I have pronouns. I appreciate you. Yay, Kylie. Thank you for the $10. And seriously, I hope that you stay safe. Please Stay safe, Kylie, as well as Rachel. Thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate that. Rachel says, "Hey Dean, my birthday is coming up in a few days, and I'd like to request that my friends and families donate to a charity on Facebook or Instagram. Could you recommend a nonprofit / charity?" Well, there's a handful of my favorite. Let me find this one that I'm a big fan of. It's for gun violence prevention. Give me one moment just to find the name. It's been a while since I've looked at it. There we go. Every town. Every town. I'm gonna have to put this guest on mute for now. Every Town Gun Safety is one of my favorite organizations. They do data-driven investigations into, like the levels and predominance of mass shootings, gun violence, and they really do a lot to, spread awareness and increase social support surrounding, this end of this epidemic that plagues our nation of mass shootings and gun violence. So that's a really good one. That's my recommendation. I'm a huge fan of Everytown Gun Research. Thank you for the $20. And then Kelly, dude, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Kelly, that is incredibly kind of you. I want to see 500 Kelly W's down below. That is Kelli. Kelly says, Dean, I'm sending this donation in Phil's name. Spent over an hour up in the box on Phil's live today. His chat was quite generous, told everyone it would be donated to you. I love donating it to you, but especially because it pisses off Phil. Keep kicking MAGA's ass. Dude, Kelly, that's crazy. Are you being for real? Dude, show some love to Kelly down below in that comment section. That is beautiful. That's one of the coolest things I've read all day. Thank you so much. And then Trish and Margaret, thank you both for the $25 on Venmo. Margaret says thank you. For Margaret, it's good to see you again. Thank you so much for the love. And then Trish says, I'm a 63-year-old liberal just outside of Minneapolis, listening to you and Parker for months, and want to send a donation for the both of you today. Oh, thank you so much for the love, Trish. Huge shout out to you. Thank you so much for the love, Trish. I hope that you're enjoying the stream. Show some love to Trish and Margaret down below. Then Ivy, thank you so much for another $15 on Venmo, who says you're in for a treat watching that conference. That's what I'm going to do once I get off the stream. I guess I am in for a treat. Thank you for the $15. Then Laura and Kaylee, thank you both for the 10. Appreciate that. Zayden and Becky, thank you for the tune for the 5. Then Sammy, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo, who says, I don't know how you keep your cool when you hear people say that a woman wasn't hot enough for Trump to grape. Dude, honestly, I don't keep my cool. But I just tried my best to, dispute it and not blow up on them. But I think it'd be incredibly valid for me to blow up on them. Thank you for the $20, Sammy. And then Michael, this came in 40 minutes ago, but I want to thank you now. Thank you for the $50 donation on Venmo, who says, I'm a DNC bot. Dean and Parker are dual AI constructs, and all of this is a conspiracy funded by Soros and the deep state. Trump cult is on fire today. Michael sent that one in when we had a Trump supporter up in the live, legitimately making that argument. Holy cow, they're insane. Thank you for the $50, Michael. Let's get 500 Michael W's. Then one more here. Siri, thank you for the $10. Tani, thank you for the $1. Megan with the $20, who says for your tinfoil hat fun. Thank you so much for the love, Megan. David, thank you so much for the $15 as well. Huge shout out to you. And yeah, it looks like we're all caught up over on Venmo. Let's quickly catch up on PayPal, then we'll hop into the debate here, folks. I appreciate y'all for the patience. Just want to make sure I'm showing the love to those who show love to me. Anthony, thank you for the 5. And happy birthday to your girlfriend. Brianna, thank you for the 3. Then Ellie, thank you for the 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much. And then Taylor, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Let's get 200 Taylor W's, who says, hey, Dean, it's in from the server. Just relaying a message from Jaden. He says that he's doing a fundraiser next Wednesday for your moderator, Adam. If you'd like to join, that would certainly boost the turnout. Yeah, dude, if I'm free, I'd love to join there for a moment. Thank you so much for the $20, Taylor. Thank you for reiterating that message. Darius, thank you for the $17 on PayPal from the DNC. Morgan with the $15, who said that guest earlier was saying awful things, saying that she wasn't beautiful enough to Donald Trump to grape her. That is absolutely insane. Thank you, Dean, for standing up for survivors and victims. Mean more than you. Well, thank you. Thank you for the $15, Morgan. And then Jennifer, thank you for the $20 on PayPal, calling that earlier guest insane. Thank you so much for the love, Jennifer. Shane, thank you so much for the $20, who says first time donating from the UK to say that Donald Trump's comments on NATO troops in Afghanistan have angered all sides of our country. So I'm not familiar with the specific comments that he made, but I have heard that countries all around this world are just flabbergasted and pissed at Trump for comments that he's made about soldiers. Thank you so much for the $20. And then we have a few more here, but I'm just going to go ahead and hold them off a moment so we can start the debate. I feel bad for keeping this young girl's dad waiting so long. So Lily's father, go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support Trump as president. And I did send you. Yep, go ahead. Mike is yours. Oh, they left. I'd assume that the phone was passed to the dad, and somewhere within that process, they accidentally swiped on that phone screen and left the live on accident. we're gonna give them a moment here just to like work their way back into the live. Because I have a very good feeling that was completely an accident. We'll get somebody else up here in the meantime, but I'm just going to be perpetually looking at that chat because I feel like they're going to be back super soon. Hey, what's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes, sir.
Are you driving?
No, not currently. Sorry, I was away from my phone. I had to do something outside my truck.
No worries, dude. Well, take it away. Tell us why you support the worst president of your life, Mr. Trump.
Well, that's subjective. So I originally wanted to join the debate because of what the other guy said about the deportations. And I'm curious on what you think about what's the difference between now and 12 years ago when Obama was running the country, and his nickname was actually literally the deporter in chief. What's the difference between then?
I could give you some major differences. Okay, the first major difference is that Obama deported 3 million people in 8 years. Trump has deported over 1 million undocumented immigrants in 1 year. The second difference is that disproportionately a lot of the deportations under Obama's admin were of undocumented immigrants with like prior violent criminal offenses or pretty insidious nonviolent criminal offenses. And then for those who didn't have those prior criminal offenses, he was actually quite beneficial to them because he created DACA and other work programs so they could actually go to work or like start working towards a legal status. So I appreciated that. Not to mention, I can't really think of any scenarios where he deported an undocumented immigrant illegally with no due process to a center in El Salvador where they're then tortured and beat. Not to mention that Donald Trump has gravely expanded the bounds of expedited removal away from people that have been in the country for like less than 3 months and 50 miles of the border to like less than 3 years, regardless of their mileage from the border. And then one last point that I'll make here is, well, once again, 70% of the immigrants that have been deported under the Trump administration have been individuals with no criminal history, plus all of the immoralities that we see at the hand of ICE on American streets, like murdering Renee Good, illegally detaining a 2-year-old girl, using a 5-year-old boy as bait to, get their father, so on and so forth. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you want to respond to that? Also, guys, what's Lily's backup saying?
Wait, what?
I was talking to the chat. Go ahead.
So, I was looking at an article from USA Today. I believe the date was June 15th, 2025. You can look at it from tracerecords.org. It did specifically state that Obama did deport 3.1 million illegal immigrants from United States, but within
you're repeating what I just said.
Trump's first term, his all 4 years, it was under 1 million.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go.
Not 1 year.
You could hop back in that queue if you want to. I did promise that I'd debate Lily's father. They're now back on an alt. And yes, in the fiscal year of, well, not even fiscal year, calendar year of 2025, the Trump administration claims to have deported 1.3 million undocumented immigrants. And Steady Trucker, once again, I do kind of apologize for wasting your time because, we just started the dialogue and now I'm gonna have to put you back down in that queue. But, like, once again, I did promise Lily's father that I'd debate her. I guess before I kick you, let's first just confirm, is this Lily and her father?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Sure is. Awesome. Well, Steady Trucker, my apologies, dude. I'd say this certainly isn't too fair for you, but if I were to continue the dialogue with you, we certainly wouldn't be too fair for Lily's father. So, Lily's father, the mic is yours. Tell us why you support Trump.
Hi, Dean. I just want to say my daughter's a big fan, and she can't stop listening to you. So why I support Trump, I guess it's more the kind of president the disruption that he's caused to the establishment. I think more than anything, more than the actual person. Mm-hmm. I think he is much needed in this day and age compared, considering how corrupt I suppose both sides are. I lean quite heavily libertarian, I suppose. I'm a small state sort of small government kind of guy. But I think he's done some of the things that needed to be done. I think he is trying to, I think the Democrats are horribly corrupt, and I think he has. I think if they'd taken power in the last election, I struggle to contemplate what the country would be like.
Can I be honest? Let me just go ahead and repeat and then respond to your first point. You said that you support Trump, okay, because he was, what was the specific word that you used? Disruptive to the establishment. I don't even think he's disruptive to the establishment specifically. I think that he's destructive to the totality of the country, including the establishment. Okay? And there's a lot of issues with American politics and the type of establishment-esque rule that we've seen in government across modern American history, including the DNC. All right. And I advocate to make it significantly better. I think that a lot of reform is needed within many scenarios. I think that we need more endorsements and more progressive candidates. We need to get away from Israel and a bunch of other things. But like the way I want to fix that isn't just by making it worse and destroying the whole country, not just them in the process.
Yeah, I mean, fair comment. I agree with a lot of that, I suppose. But I guess where we differ is that you would, from what I understand, you are, a bigger proponent of more socialist ideas.
No,
and I think
I'm not a socialist. I am about as close as you could get to. That like hold on to this perspective that when we're talking about like maybe giving $70 billion to Americans for food stamps, that's like a bad thing. But then when we turn around and we give like billions or trillions of dollars over the course of years and years and years and years to the top 1%, it's fine. You know, it's like when it is somebody that's lesser than you being benefited. Fuck them. Libertarian, that's socialism. I hate it. But then when it's somebody with more than you that's being benefited, these people that already have like 5 yachts, okay, well then that's just patriotism. You know, like I think that's a lie that was started by trickle-down economics with Reagan. And somehow that lie is just convinced millions and millions of people, American and non-American, that somehow as long as we just, take the little scraps we have and give them to the billionaires, that, we're true American patriots that love our country. But I mean, that just couldn't be further from the truth. We need to endorse social programs for low-income Americans. We need to endorse social programs for the working class, because not only do these social programs materially benefit people, but they also materially benefit the country, because that gives more economic mobility to the people who matter the most and gives them a greater ability to increase their own income, increase their own net worth over the course of their life, which in turn benefits the country as a whole. I mean, it's not just a handout. It's an investment with a material ROI that we could track.
Well, I don't. I mean, what were your thoughts on the whole Doge exercise and trying to get rid of waste and fraud and corruption in the government?
Yeah, it costs more than it weeded out of in the sense of corruption, and inevitably shut their doors because Elon was so pissed that while he was spending months of strenuous effort to get rid of $120 billion, Trump just turned around and spent $5 trillion. Not to mention, I'm not convinced of any of this corruption and theft. Okay, I'm not convinced of it all, because how many arrests have been made? How dude? Fuck it. I mean, zero. The answer to that question is zero. How many investigations have been launched? How many arrest warrants have been signed by judges for any of like these Democrats in Congress engaging in fraud and theft from the American people? Zero, dude.
Well, I mean, what's happening in Minnesota has been, the corruption there has been exposed to be pretty bad, and I think it's a small part of the country. But I think if you moved into California, what kind of corruption do you think along the same lines would be uncovered there?
Well, apparently not enough to arrest a single governmental figure, and same thing with Minnesota, by the way.
Well, if anyone did get arrested, I bet that the Democrats would scream fascism. I mean, it's probably under investigation, and I think if there were crimes committed, then they would be arrested. But if
there were crimes committed, then they'd be arrested. Nobody has been arrested, therefore there weren't crimes committed in accordance with your logic.
So is that what you're saying? There was no crimes committed in Minnesota?
That's what you're saying. You're saying if there was crimes committed, then they would be arrested. Okay, we haven't seen a single Democrat in Minnesota get arrested for fraud. Therefore, the crime was never.
Well, it would be under investigation. I mean, I'm just wondering your opinion. Do you think there were any crimes committed in Minnesota?
I think a conversation surrounding state-level crimes in Minnesota by private citizens is neither here nor there, as it would relate to a conversation about your claim, which is the fact that Doge was weeding out fraud on the federal level, not state level, not from private citizens, but rather from Democrats in Congress.
But you're not answering the question, Dean. It was a direct question. Do you think crimes were committed?
I've been able to demonstrate the irrelevant nature of said question.
Right. Okay.
I believe that crimes are committed by private citizens. Okay, in all 50 states. How about that? I want to ask you a question. What if there was a crime of fraud or corruption committed by a Democratic politician in the state of Minnesota? Would you ever support them in your life?
Would I ever what? Sorry.
If any Democrat in Minnesota that's serving in government legitimately committed fraud, okay, and was found guilty of it in a criminal court of law, would you ever support them in your life? Or would you say, because they were found guilty of fraud, okay, we need to immediately outcast them out of American politics, and they're now just simply not qualified for any public service?
I would say that's probably yes. I think if you've committed a crime, that should be grounds for dismissal from public life. Yes.
Unless it's Trump's 34 felonies, right?
Quite right. Yeah, I mean, it's
unless it's Donald Trump's civil adjudication for rape, right?
Look, I have I have been through. I'm obviously not as well versed in the details of those as you are. I don't spend my time debating these topics very, very regularly at all, really.
Do you need to know the details? Come on, you didn't know any of the details about the Democrats in Minnesota yet. That's all you wanted to talk about. You said if somebody's found guilty of a crime, they shouldn't be in public service. Therefore, Donald Trump should not be in public service because he was found guilty of 34 counts of felony business fraud. He was found guilty in a civil court of raping E. Jean Carroll. He was found guilty in another civil court of defrauding his own university. He reached a settlement in another civil court for violating the Civil Rights Act by refusing to rent to black people. He was found guilty in another civil court about lying about the values of his properties to a bank in New York. He intentionally concealed classified documents at his private estate in Mar-a-Lago. Jack Smith says that he has evidence beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt that Donald Trump was guilty of insurrection because of J6. Okay, he's infringed on the Constitution many times in the last year and a half, with the most notable of them being his intentional infringement on the 14th Amendment when he broke that law. Okay, broke that constitutional amendment by trying to refuse citizenship born to the children of undocumented immigrants on American soil. So if it's I just feel like this is so hypocritical in a sense, Jason, where if it's a Democrat that commits a single crime, never support him again. But if it's a Republican like Trump that commits a culmination of all these crimes, violent, non-violent, victimless, ones with a victim, multiple counts, one count, civil court, criminal court, you just kind of toss them aside and say that you still support them. I feel like that is cognitive dissonance on grandeur display in front of everyone watching.
Yeah, fair enough. If that's your opinion on it, then
what's your opinion on it?
My opinion on it is that I'm not a professional debater. I know there was clearly a lot of lawfare used against Trump. I know some laws were changed so that statutes of limitations could be they could work around the statutes of limitations. I know that the fraud case or the property value case. I'm not sure on these details, Dean. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a professional debater, and I haven't studied these carefully. But there was a lot of legal wranglings in a lot of these cases to circumvent parts of the law, and the precedents were very much stretched in a lot of these. And there was, I think anyone objectively, Dean, would know that there was a lot of lawfare used against Trump to try and get him to prevent him from running for office again. I think that's it's a fair statement, Dean.
Listen to what you're doing right now. Okay, this is very important because you said if any Democrat in California was arrested and found guilty of a crime, that the Democrats would just scream fascism. You said, the Democrats would just scream, this is unjust. They're not actually guilty of it, even though they've been found guilty in court. And you said that as if you were painting this narrative that, the Democrats would just deny reality and deny the fact that, no, they're actually guilty. But that's what you're doing right now. As soon as Donald Trump is found guilty on all these counts, you just scream lawfare. Listen, I'd say the truth and the fact of the matter is that the prosecutors of Donald Trump, like Alvin Bragg, went after Donald Trump because he was somebody running for the presidency. But that doesn't, in virtue of that fact, make the crimes false or the lawfare. It just means that we have prosecutors in this country that recognize with more power comes more scrutiny, because said power emboldens the bad characteristics of your character, and that we need to apply as much scrutiny to Donald Trump and his past, okay? And if he's committed a crime, hold him accountable for it. If he's going to be president, especially if he's going to be a president, screamed about law and order and sending people to be tortured in another country because of a victimless federal misdemeanor.
Yeah, fair enough, Dean. You're a very good debater, and you clearly are very well polished on these arguments, far better than I. So I'll concede the point, I suppose. And I mean, on the more broad point, I think that whether I support Donald Trump, I think he has probably. I think the history books written about him will be that he's done more for the American people than. Certainly than old sleepy Joe Biden, and probably over the next few years, the kind of investment he's getting, the moves he's making geopolitically, and the peace in Gaza, the talks he's having with Putin, and I think on his foreign policy and his domestic policy in terms of investment, I think the history books will remember him kindly. We can debate everything else. The border's being closed. And I know you disagree with a lot of these, Dean, but I think it's my opinion that as an American, I think what he's doing is better for the country than Joe Biden could ever have done, and certainly better than Kamala Harris could have done. And that's my opinion. I mean, we will welcome to our opinion. We can,
we have to make sure that our opinions are based in fact. Like, one of the things that you brought up there was business investment. I mean, if you just go on Google, you type in FRED, that stands for the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, real fixed private investment into American manufacturing. I mean, you could look at the quarterly levels of investment into this country and see that they boomed under Biden and are now decreasing under Trump. So it's like, yes, we do have a difference of opinion here. You think that Donald Trump is driving investment. I think that he's killing investment. But see, the thing is that the evidence only corroborates mine, doesn't corroborate yours. It, in fact, refutes and proves it wrong. Now, there's one last line of argumentation that I want to use here to attempt to change your mind. And I'm really tossing the die here. This is
go for it, Dean. Don't be shy.
This is either going to be a very happy moment for you, your daughter in the live stream, or a very sad moment for you, your daughter, and the live stream. Jeez. All right. So
go for it, Dean.
Listen, you care about your daughter, yeah?
I do. Very much so.
Young girl. So here's the question. If a man, God forbid, it pains me to even say this out loud. If a man took advantage of your daughter, as a father, okay, I can only imagine myself in this position. I'd do things to that man that I can't even say on TikTok Live. All right? But as a father, would you be able to agree that if a man took advantage of your daughter, you would never endorse them and support them in the most powerful ranking position available to any human on earth, as the presidency of the United States of America is, correct?
Dean, I mean, I think it's fair to say that as the president of America, it's a little bit, no, I agree. I wouldn't support or endorse them. No, absolutely. And I think I think what I know what you're getting at, Dean, and I think that's it's probably not the correct kind of course of action for a debate like this on TikTok.
It certainly is.
It is getting a little personal, I think.
Well,
and my daughter is sitting right here. I get what you're saying, Dean.
I would like to now continue to speak here because you just gave the right answer. You just gave the right answer that I want to hear, that your daughter wants to hear, that everyone wants to hear, that if an older man took advantage of them, you never support them in any high-ranking position of power, such as the presidency of the United States of America. Donald Trump has taken advantage of other men's daughters, of other women's daughters. And he's admitted to it, he's boasted about it, and he said that it was funny. Okay, what I'm about to play is a clip of Donald Trump and Howard Stern's radio show, April 11th of 2005. All right, and as you're listening to this clip of Donald Trump describing that he would sexually exploit naked women and girls by barging into their dressing rooms and looking at their naked bodies unconsensually, okay, as much as it might pain you, I mean, you don't have to do this, but I'd recommend, okay, imagine that he's talking about your daughter, okay, because he certainly is talking about someone else's, and I want to see if this could change your mind.
The Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Yeah, horrible, Dean. Not very nice at all.
So the question is, do you hold a red line against supporting Trump as president, considering the fact that he's sexually exploited other men's daughters, other women's daughters, and he's boasted about it on a radio show as if it was a funny or good thing?
I think I don't like. I think Trump has certainly got some serious character flaws, but what he's doing for the country, Dean, is a different story. I mean, what he's doing for the country is good. I mean, there's a lot of bad people. I mean, most people, if you went through the Congress currently, there would be a lot of people that are not very nice people. But it's policy over the person, I think, in my opinion, and I think policy-wise, I think he's doing good. Put it that way. I don't support the man. I think the man's.
That's not the question that I asked you, because you said if he did this to your daughter, you'd never support him as president. So why are you willing to continue?
I don't support him as a person, Dean.
Even though he did this to someone else's daughter.
I think he's. But separate the man from the policy.
Listen. You can't separate the man from the policy because it's the man who's writing the policy. Maybe if he didn't, one moment, I'll tell you you can't do that, and I'll explain why. You cannot separate the man from the policy because it's the man who writes the policy. Maybe if this man didn't possess these negative character attributes of not caring about women and girls to the extent of being willing to take advantage of them, then he wouldn't have attempted to use the 42 million Americans, okay, that were starving during the last 12 days of the government shutdown in November as leverage to get the Dems to fold by illegally avoiding a court order, forcing him to feed them. Maybe, okay, if he didn't possess these negative character attributes of not caring about anyone else and what actually had some empathy, well, then he wouldn't be having the state-sanctioned murder or illegally deporting people like Abrego Garcia to be beaten and tortured in CCOT. Then when you have SCOTUS rule that they got to come home, okay, he says, hell no, they're never coming back to further his own political narrative. You can't separate the man from the character. Plus, you should never give a predator power over their prey. Now, here's the question that I need you to answer. This question is vital, okay, for this debate. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it the case? Why is it the case that if it was your daughter, that would be your red line and you'd stop supporting him as president because he did this? But if it wasn't your daughter and was rather someone else's, it wouldn't be a red line and you'd continue to support Trump as president regardless of the fact that he did this.
I don't understand the question, Dean. As I say, I go back to my
if
point.
he did this to someone else's daughter, you still support him as president. If he did this to your daughter, you would not continue to support him as president. Why?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, Dean. I don't know. There's absolutely. I didn't say that. What I am saying, Dean, is that his character is seriously flawed. I think it's obvious for anyone to see that. As
Your perfect domain is out there. Go to Wix. And make it yours. Claim your space online. Own your name, your brand, your breakthrough. And the rest just clicks. It all starts with a domain. What's yours?
Monday.com, the opposite of any work platform we tried in the past. We tried other work management platforms, not naming names. They all suck. Monday, total opposite. It didn't just work, it spread. And people became...
on this particular subject, that's where I stand.
Right. Do you agree with the policy of McDonald's? If you're a rapist, McDonald's won't hire you. Do you agree with that policy?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
Think about it here for a second.
If what? Sorry, what was the point?
McDonald's will not hire rapists. Do you agree with McDonald's policy?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So, if you think McDonald's shouldn't hire people guilty of sexual violence, then why do you think the White House should?
To be honest with you, Dean, I don't know enough about what he's been accused of. I don't know the details of the case. I'd have to really research exactly what it is you're talking about. I don't know that. I've read some headlines about what he did, but I would like to know more about it before I start debating a subject I don't know about.
Well, let me help inform you then. So first and foremost, one instance of sexual violence is what he would just listen to him admit, not an accusation made by somebody else, an admittance of guilt by himself on Howard Stern's radio show. Now, the rape case is a civil court case that concluded in 2023 where a unanimous jury of 9 agreed that Donald Trump raped E. Jean Carroll by forcefully penetrating her female member with his fingers. And this was based upon a preponderance of evidence submitted into that court by E. Jean Carroll, alongside the inconsistencies, lies, and contradictions present within Donald Trump's own testimony, his inability to provide certain evidence that would prove his innocence when requested by E. Jean Carroll, and then the, of course, character priors of saying on the Access Hollywood tapes in 2005 that he likes to do to women what the jury found him guilty of, which was grabbing another woman by her female member unconsensually without asking first. Then, of course, the other character priors, like the one that we just went over, of him engaging in other forms of sexual violence, like what he did to the contestants of Miss Teen USA, Miss USA. And for the reason of keeping it short, that's all I'll go over for now. But we also have a bunch of other character priors to do with Epstein, but I'll cut it off there for now. And if you'd like to see any corroborating documentation, feel free to ask. I could pull up the jury verdict form, show it to you on screen. I could pull up the court documents, show them to you on screen. I could pull up comments made by the judge, show them to you on screen. I'm willing to give you any and all documentation, any and all evidence to do whatever you want me to do to demonstrate that this is true.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if that's if what you say is correct, and then I guess that's what it is then.
I thought that you maybe had more to say. Was that it? That's what it is? So well, are you basically just going, okay, and?
Well, look. In the last election, Dean, the choices for America were Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And I think if Kamala Harris had won, I think the country would be a disaster.
Okay, name one policy that she ran on that she would have implemented that would have made America a disaster.
It would have gone far more in a socialist direction. And
okay, I think so then name one policy that she ran on that would have sent America in a far more socialist direction. Name it.
I can't do it.
Then how do you know what would have happened? Because Fox News told you so? Because Newsmax told you so? Because Twitter told you so? Elon Musk told you so? Other Trump supporters on the internet told you so?
Yeah, pretty much. People that I follow and trust. Yes.
Right, exactly. So that's hilarious. It's actually not hilarious at all. It's terrible. You're willing to just set any moral principles aside and accept an adjudicated rapist that has boasted about sexual exploitation as the president of America, while stating that he shouldn't be able to get a job at McDonald's because these no names on the internet have told you that if Kamala Harris was elected, she would have been a crazy socialist that would have destroyed the country with no supporting and or corroborating evidence whatsoever. Like, the major issue here is okay, your lack of a spine leading you to accept a rapist as president, then B, the lack of intellect leading you to accept baseless claims as true with no evidence provided. Of course, that's proven because you weren't able to name a single thing Kamala Harris would have done, one policy she ran on that would have sent this country in a more socialist direction. It's almost like you look at American politics like a sports game, but like even then, if your favorite QB is found guilty of rape, the team's going to kick his ass off. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
Well, look, Dean, most of us don't spend our entire lives talking and listening to politics and spending all day, every day, delving into every last detail about every last thing that happens in American politics. So the preferences I have are small government, more freedom, and I think that it would be. I think out of the two choices, I think I like what closing the border. I think what he's been doing in terms of policy is better than what Kamala Harris would have done.
His policy takes freedoms away and increases the size of the government.
Well, look,
okay, I'm going to give you an argument that Donald Trump is increasing the size of the government. Then
who would have left the border open and who would have closed the border out of those two options?
Well, actually, leaving the border open is a pro-libertarian view because it reduces the size of the government and takes restrictions off the market by allowing a free labor to flow in and out of said market. All like anarcho-libertarians.
Well, it's not my particular policy.
Anyways,
I lean
also,
libertarian.
what policy did she run on that would have left the border open? You tell me.
Well, Biden was in charge for 4 years, and the border was wide open. And
from the beginning of his administration.
Well, the 4 years that he was in office, Dean,
did he open the border?
I have no idea.
You don't know? How do you know it was wide open?
Well, because 10, 13 million people came over in 4 years?
Okay, well, I'd ask you for a source for that number because according to the American Immigration Institute, we have a total of 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country as a whole, including all 11. The ones that have came in many years ago. And the point number two here, no, the border's never been wide open. And I'll happily go into a conversation with you about why you think that's the case after, I dispute that further view because you said that Donald Trump is going to reduce the size of the government. No, dude, he's overwhelmingly increased the size of the government. First and foremost, by trying to consolidate power to himself in the circumvention of Congress and SCOTUS, okay? He's been doing this with orders to the military. He's been doing this with unconstitutional EOs. He's been doing this with unconstitutional changes and revision to the policy of ICE, okay? He's been doing this with claiming unilateral control over all immigration, and when any court tells him otherwise, he ignores them. He, in fact, did this today. ICE literally ignored a court that told him they have to release this 2-year-old girl, ignored it, and took her to a detention facility with her father. They did this with Abreu Garcia. Now he's ordering the FBI to not cooperate with local investigators in Minnesota for Renee Good's murder. Okay, he circumvented Congress when he passed EO number 14160 to try to take citizenship away from the children born to undocumented immigrants here, even though it's unconstitutional. Okay. Not to mention he's increasing the size of the government fiscally speaking, regardless of it spending $5 trillion in one bill or speaking through the lens of taxation, according to the CBPP, the purchasing power of the average American making at or under $51,000 per year is going down, and the size of the government is inflating. Like, of course, the size of the government is inflating when they're killing people in broad daylight, then refusing to investigate it, labeling the person who was killed as a domestic terrorist.
Look, Dean, I respectfully, I will have to agree to disagree. I think you're a good dude, and I think you're very sharp, very polished on your talking points. You're a great orator, and I mean, we clearly are on two different sides of the spectrum, on the political spectrum.
Can I ask why we have to agree to disagree?
Because I don't agree with leftist politics. I
But
mean,
is there any reason why what I said was wrong?
No.
So if there's no reason to what I said as being wrong, you disagree with it because of your emotions?
No, Dean. It's
why
not
do you disagree with it? If there's no reason for it to be wrong, why do you disagree?
I don't have the time this evening to go any further with it. But thanks for chatting, and good luck with it.
I think that I don't have the time to explore further. It just kind of proves that you don't have any reason to disagree. He's gone. When did so many people, like grown-ass adults, become nothing more than a fucking toddler watching Cocomelon on their mother's sticky iPad? You know, like, we listened to that guy speak. He doesn't sound like he's like completely lost his mind, like guests earlier that were like crashing out, literally zero impulse control, couldn't let me speak for more than 3 seconds, accusing me of botting my streams with Telegram. Okay. It's like that guy probably like works like a fine career, generates like a fine income. He probably has like, you know, a college degree and all that shit too. Okay. Maybe did good in school. But then it's like when it's about politics, like the rational faculties just like turn off. Like, why, dude? They just leave their brain at the door the moment, you know, you start saying Trump. Like, it's just incredible. Like, why? Why do they do that? Brainwashing. Fucking brainwashing. We're going to go in and get that next Trump supporter loaded up into the box. Only join inside of that queue if you happen to be MAGA. Only join inside of that queue if you happen to be MAGA. Please make sure that you're following our rules. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could try your best to do so. I got a couple people here to thank. Catching up on Venmo from a couple people earlier. I really hope that some of y'all are still in here. Hey, Kaylee, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo from the DNC bot. D, thank you for the $10. Who says, from a black ass woman in Maine, lol, or maybe I'm in Africa. Keep up doing what you're doing, Dean. Free Palestine, free Congo, and free the USA. Yeah, earlier that guest was like saying that all the viewers are in Africa. That was weird as hell. Appreciate you for the $10. Huge shout out to you. And I'd say that there's fortunately a large chance that they're no longer in here. But I mean, if they are, hey, shout out to you. Huge shout out to you. Hi, do you support Trump?
No, sorry.
No worries, dude. You take care. We're going to get that next guest loaded up in here right now. And dude, this was a while ago, but I have a feeling that you're maybe still in here. Miss Katie, thank you so much. Sorry, not Katie. Kathy, thank you so much for another $100 over on PayPal. Kathy, thank you. Thank you so much for the kindness. Thank you so much. Please show some love to Kathy down below in that comment section. Thank you so much, Kathy. Dude, we fucking love Kathy here. Kathy is the queen of the stream. She's always hanging out with us. She's always showing mad love. And by the way, that is Kathy with a C. Huge shout out to you. And then Jennifer, thank you so much for the $20 as well. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Bro, show some love to the donors down below. Then Cinnamon with a 5 who says, remember, Dean, doing bad things is okay as long as it's not being done to you. Yeah, apparently, right, Cinnamon? And then Natasia, dude, thank you so much for the $50 over on PayPal. That is NASTASSIA. Natasia with a big 50. Let's get 500 Natasia W's down below. Seriously, thank you for the love. Says, thank you for stating the facts. A person is the president. So how do his morals not reflect on how he runs the country? We cannot neglect his character over policies. When he implements his character in policy reflects him and what he wants and needs. He's very selfish. I could not agree more. One of the reasons why Trump's policy is so bad is because of his decrepit character. Then, of course, Corinna and Alexis, thank you both for the $5. The end, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much for the love. And then Fassi, thank you so much for the $10. And Ellie, thank you so much for the $15. I appreciate you for the love. Who says, why didn't you read my $20 dono? I'll have to go find it again, Ellie. I apologize that I missed it. Thank you so much for the $15. And then over on Super Chat, quickly, Camp, thank you so much for the $100. Dude, Camp, thank you so much for the kindness. I want to see 1,000 Camp W's. Thank you so fucking much, Camp. It is so good to see you. You've been watching for months. I feel like you've been watching since before the election even. Camp with the $100 says, none of these callers who complain about the quote-unquote open border can name a single time their lives were directly affected by an immigrant or immigration. And if they can, it was a positive effect, like upholstering our economy, creating jobs, right? Thank you for the $100. And then Luna with a €24 says, apart from the flawed character, quote unquote flat, that's what the last guest said, of Trump. What makes MAGA voters think Trump would care about the anonymous population's wishes if he doesn't even give a fuck about a woman in front of him once or not? That's what I'm saying. Preach, dude. Hella true. Hella true. And then 10,000 seconds. Thank you for the $20. Who says you should start asking how bad of a person does a president have to be in order to not support them, even if they were a good president? We take Schindler. Would they take Schindler if he had good policy? Yeah, we've had people say that they'd vote for anyone who they think has a better policy. Thank you for the $20. And then Allison, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. Show some love to Allison down below. Thank you so much for the kindness. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the generosity. Seriously, Allison, it is so undeserved. I'm so grateful for you. Let's show some massive love to Allison down below in that chat who says, hey, I'm a little behind in listening to the quote unquote bot guy. I am keep doing what you're doing. Love you, kiddo. Hashtag fuck Trump. Dude, love you too, Allison. Thank you for the kindness. And yes, you're just another one of the bots. Another one of the massive, massive bots. Welcome in. Do you support Trump? Pissing on live. Definitely a Trump supporter. Definitely a Trump supporter, but I'm definitely also going to be kicking you, even though you're a Trump supporter. Because that's weird ass shit. Okay. All right. Pissing on live. Hey, Lena. Thank you for the 12 euros who says something died of me listening to the father. Dude, yeah, that was a pretty fucking, it's a pretty depressing conversation. Not going to lie. Hey, man, what's up? I've seen you spamming that chat saying that you think I'm getting owned.
Yeah, you got owned that last debate, Dean.
How so?
You can just listen to it. Every point he made, you had nothing to come back to him with.
He literally ended the debate by saying, Dean, I disagree with you. I have no reason to disagree with you, but I gotta go. All right, is this like rage bait? You go, bro. You gotta be like trying to increase my cortisol levels here. Are you a Russian bot? How much is the Kremlin giving you to do this shit? Like, do you ever like feel it like a little pathetic? You're like, well, I guess if they're giving me like $3,000 a day, like I'll do it. But like, oh God, you know, like. Oh, I make such a fool out of myself. It looks like he's leaving anyways. Let's go to get that next guy, Steve, up in here. I don't know how people like that exist, dude.
Yo,
hey,
yo, I just requested like 5 seconds ago, bro. You listen to Osama Son? I don't care about none of this debate shit, my nigga.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Keep it stacked, bro. Go listen to Logo.
You got lucky as hell. You got up here super fast, but it doesn't look like he's here to debate. So we're going to move on to the next guest. By the way, if you're watching, you're like, hey, I like this Dean guy and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, in the link tree in my bio, my TikTok account, pin message over on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for all the love. What's going on, dude? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm eating. I didn't expect to get up. I do though.
What's going on with the red lights?
Sorry, it's just kind of chill.
No,
I was eating, snacking. Got some saltines right here.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
Cool, dude. What year were you born in? Let's just confirm that age real quick.
04.
Okay, 04. Me too, dude. Me too.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool, man. Let me thank a couple people, then I'll pass you that mic, all right?
All right.
Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate that. Yo, David, thank you for the $15 on Venmo. It says, hey, Dean, just curious if you're able to look into that memo I sent. I have not.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep.
Because I don't want to on accident mispronounce it. Leftovers because of you. We love you, dog. Dude, I love you guys too. Please tell your wife and her family that I love them all. Thank you for the $10, Jay. And then Ben with the $10. Thank you so much for the love. Good to see you, by the way, Ben. Then Reba, R-E-B-A, thank you for the $10. Who said, if my dad said the same thing in regards to Lily Dad's argument in front of me, I would feel so unsafe. I'm living away from him, and I hope that guy gets his life together. Yeah, dude, that was fucking sad. And then Ben, thank you for another $10 as well. Show some love to Ben. Cassie, thank you for the 5. And then Ben with another $25. Thank you so much for the love. Please show some love to Ben down below in that chat. And Ben, I am going to go to keep your message to myself just because of its sensitive nature. But thank you so much for all the continued love and support, man. Please show some love to Ben down below. And then Serenity with a $20 says, I hope that last guest feels immense shame talking like this in front of his daughter. Women have to see their assaulter/abuser be in the most powerful position with no justice and no sense of safety because people like that guest feel some shame, gross spine, disgusting. I doubt they're still in here. You probably just skedaddled and got off the app as a whole. But thank you for the $20 Serenity. And then Jonda, Miss Jonda, thank you for the $50 on Venmo. Jonda Valentine, ladies and gentlemen. God, I love Jonda. Jonda says, I'm so proud of you. Keep speaking the truth from your heart. I love you, Jonda. You know I love you too. Jonda is one of the stream's grandmas. Gotta love Jonda. Gotta love Jonda. Show some love to Jonda down below. And then Jessica, thank you for the $100 on Venmo. Holy shit, Jessica. Jessica with the 100 says, hey, Dean, I just got off early, so I got to watch the rest of your stream. Whoop, whoop. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for the crazy amount of love. Let's get 1,000 Jessica W's down below in that chat. And I hope that you're doing all right today. You're literally always here hanging out with us. We love you, Jessica. Thank you so much for the support. Then Mad Daddy, thank you for the $20 who says, fuck ice down with Trump. Dude, I love this Mad Daddy guy. Thank you so much for the support. And Shelby, thank you for the 10. And Fussy, thank you for the 5. And then we have one more person to thank. And this is the last one before we hop into the debate. And like, dude, just like seriously, bro, fucking hell, Michael, thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, from the bottom of my heart for the $400 donation on Venmo. You, like I said this earlier too, you've been showing so much fucking love to me, Parker, and Santana. All three of us, bro, are so fucking grateful for you. Thank you so much for the love. Like, that's just, it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. Not a bone in my body deserves it, dude. And I'm so appreciative for your love and your support and your kindness. We're appreciative for your love, your support, and your kindness. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. Michael, the $400, just fucking insane. Says, a spineless piece of shit father that last guy was. I feel bad for his daughter. A rapist will never earn my vote. I believe victims, and I trust the victims, and I stand with him. Fuck Donald Trump. Michael, I love the man you are, dude. I love the man you are. I think that all men should strive to be a little bit more like you. I hope that you're enjoying the stream today. Thank you for the absolutely insane $400 donation. Show some love to Michael in that chat. And to the guests, thank you for your patience, dude. The mic and the floor are yours. You got my full attention. Tell us why you're MAGA.
So I'm MAGA. You know, it's not probably the best reason, but so I grew up in a traditionalist Christian household, and my mom. I don't have my dad anymore, but my mom is extremely MAGA. So I was basically coming on here. I want to see points as to why I shouldn't support MAGA. So I am MAGA with my mom and my family member. All my family members are MAGA, I guess, but they really just support Trump. I do agree. I can tell you, I do agree with the secured borders. I do agree with more Christian values. I know some people say you need to, but I think it's mainly for the morals of Christianity. I think some of the morals of Christianity, if you actually follow it, they're good morals to have.
Yeah, I'd argue that there's actually a lot of morals that could be found within the gospel that are incredibly good to have. You know, like treating people equally, loving thy neighbor, being good to the poor, being mean to the rich. Remember when Jesus said a rich man is just as likely to get into the kingdom of heaven as a camel is to pass through the eye of a needle. But what I'd argue here is that none of these values are represented by Trump, dude. None of them. Fucking none of them. Like, the main theme that I really took away from reading the gospel was Jesus Christ's ability to genuinely want to love and connect with everyone with zero exceptions. Okay? He was willing, he invited the Pharisees that were trying to literally kill him to sit down at that dinner table, to break bread and drink wine, to become one of his disciples. Meanwhile, on the other hand here, we have somebody like Trump who wants to exclude everyone that he deems as the enemy, attacks trans people, tries to take their constitutional right away to own a gun, attacks black and brown people, called them all lazy in the 90s. Today stigmatizes all immigrants as violent criminals who want to kill your wife and grape your children after eating your family pets and dogs. Attacks Muslims. His first term, he literally tried to implement a ban to restrict all Muslims from entering into this country. Attacks poor people, defunded food stamps, defunded Medicaid when we already have 40 through 60,000 people dying per year via lack of access to said systems, to just then fund the top 1% further by giving them a 3 to 4% tax cut. You know, attacks gay people. Dude, I mean, I could just go on all day. You know, I just feel like I can't identify any core fundamental Christian values that Donald Trump truly represents well.
Okay, so you had mentioned a point. He had called black and brown people lazy in the 90s. I caught that. Do you believe opinions and like politics can change? Do you? Because I believe he was, you know, I haven't looked much into it, but I believe he was a Democratic or in the Democratic Party later, like in the 80s, 90s. And he had switched to, I think he first ran in the 2000s. I don't know what he ran as. But do you think opinions can change?
Yeah, I think that a lot of opinions can change, but I don't think that means his did.
Okay. Like, so can I have a recent example of him like attacking blacks or browns?
Black people and brown people.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, a good example would be is that he said he could just look at an immigrant and tell if they're good or bad, or like emboldening ICE today to detain people based upon racially profiling them.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't know that was sorry about that.
Oh well, if you're well, I'll actually share the reason why it's like not okay to say blacks. It's because like that phrase, along many other, have been used throughout American history to just further subjugate them to oppression. Like during Jim Crow era racial segregation, terms like blacks and colored were used in replacement or in tandem to the N word to just further identify as like a subhuman enemy. So that's why we say black people, brown people. It's just a little dehumanizing. Right. All.
I apologize. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible.
I appreciate you for being receptive to this.
I'm a very open-minded dude, so I would love, because I see this is all I get on my For You page is the lives from you. I've seen the Parker. There was this one other dude, but so another thing about it is, what about? So you say they're trying to take away like trans rights.
Oh,
and they're trying to.
They already have.
Did they?
Yeah. It took away the ability from trans people to serve in the military. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm also, by the way, I feel like I'm wasting your time. I feel like I didn't come up here fully prepared. I can leave if you'd rather debate somebody else. But
if you're fully prepared, no, it's okay. You can stay up here if you want. I'm enjoying the conversation. I don't need you to.
Well, I just don't know what to talk about. I mean, I think the reason why.
Okay, then let me ask you a question. What's like one true Christian value that Donald Trump represents well?
Give me a second. I'm gonna have to think about it. I can't think of one. I can't think of one at the moment. There may be one, there may not be one, but I cannot think of one. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of my point here. When I was younger, I was, like 15, 16. I grew up in a very similar family to you. Both my parents and a lot of my extended family are very Republican, very MAGA. I went to like a Christian school, Catholic school. 85% of the people in the town that I live in are also MAGA. Right. And, because of that, I just kind of held the beliefs that my family did. I just kind of held the beliefs that my school did, that my society did, that my community did. Right. And, at the time, I probably shared very similar beliefs to the ones that you do now. I thought, for a little bit that Trump was like a great Christian, represented the faith beyond belief and expectation. I thought he was kind of this inevitable dominant force that wanted to save America and really strengthen our economy and fight for the people. And I thought that abortion was wrong. I claimed a high regard to the faith and misrepresented that faith probably a little bit too. This was like earlier on in like middle school. I think that in middle school, I was like a very like outwardly like homophobic in the sense that, well, Bibles say gay bad, therefore I don't like gay people. And I actually, that one deconstructed through high school because I ended up finding a friend group where the friend group was me, a lesbian woman, another lesbian woman, then a trans man. So fun fact about me. But I guess the moral the moral of the story here.
I was in like the same situation. So, and I grew up in small town Arkansas, and you wouldn't expect it, right? But so as like the only Christian in the friend group, there was this trans man, and this other gay girl that I was friends with.
Oh, man, so yeah, very, very similar.
Yeah. And then, so I've never been like homophobic. I've never been transphobic. I think that's the word. I'm pretty accepting of all people. I don't like to put people down. I like to be happy about it. So the reason why I'm here is I'm still in small town Arkansas, but I'm actually about to go to UT, which is in Austin, Texas. And I've heard it's a very liberal school. So I'm kind of trying to be prepared to be around those people more, and I'm 21.
Okay, so you're just getting ready to go to that school. Dude, honestly, like, okay, by the time I went to college, I was already like I was getting pretty lived out at that point. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest. I was getting pretty lived out at that point. Yeah. But, like, I remember being like maybe earlier on in high school and like thinking about college. And because I have an older sister and she started going to university maybe when I was a sophomore. And, we'd get daily reports from her in the family group chat about how these wokey professors wanted to brainwash her into being super liberal. And, I started having very similar thoughts then to the ones that you are now. Dude, I mean, then I went to university and I definitely had some super woke professors, loved them to death. But like when I went to Boulder, so I mean, makes sense, right?
That's in Colorado. It sounds like it's in Colorado.
Yeah, Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
CU Boulder. But kind of what I learned is that what I deemed as madness because of what my family told me was in all reality just objectively the most realistic and accurate description of the world that we live in. It truly is. It also true for understanding racism better. I grew up in a society in a local community where there wasn't many black people. If I'm going to be honest, there was not many black people when and where I grew up. There's maybe like a handful, but for the most part, like the community that I grew up in was vast majority white people. And like a larger minority of Hispanic people, not a lot of black people. So I didn't really understand like anti-black racism, if that meant any sense.
Yeah.
I remember being younger, hearing about how like it was wrong to use the N-word. And, of course I heard that, but I guess I just didn't really understand why. But as I kind of grew up and started researching more into these things, like all of a sudden it just started making so much more sense. Like, oh, like why the hell is there such a large socioeconomic gap between the average black person in this country and the average white person in this country?
Right.
Why the hell?
Do you think that's systemic? Sorry.
Yeah, systemic, exactly. Why the hell, do we see such significant disparages in so many walks of life, with white people being significantly represented in particular fields? Why the hell are all these things true and more? And, then I started educating myself and I was like, okay, well, I mean, if I look at the history of racism in this country, if I look at, rebranded, slavery into the prison institution with an over-policing of predominantly black neighborhoods, and the fact that black people, 14% of our population, account for 84% of the exonerations in the criminal justice system, that and about a billion other things, it just really started to make sense that the progressive movement had something true to it. And then then the hook, line, and sinker for me was looking back at history, and historically, like the progressive movements have been on the right side of history. Women's suffrage for the 20th Amendment. That was, sorry, did I just say 20th, 19th Amendment? That was a progressive movement. I mean, fighting to end slavery wasn't as progressive as I wanted because, once again, it was just slavery, not, job limitations, segregation, so on and so forth. That was still an incredibly progressive movement. So maybe the progressive movements today still have something to them,
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything from a conservative standpoint that you can agree with? Like, is there anything, any policies, any politicians that you like their views, you like their policies, anything?
I'd say one thing that I have some respect for are some of the anti-Trump Republicans. It's probably not going to be their policies, but I do have some respect for like the Thomas Massey type of Republican.
I'll have to look him up. What's his name? How do you spell his last name?
Massey, Massey. I mean, he has just been completely outcast from the MAGA circle by Trump. And he really led the charge with, a super progressive Democrat, Ro Khanna, with fighting for the release of the Epstein files. Now policy, I'm not going to lie. No, I don't. I fall further left than the Democratic Party. If anything, I have disagreements with the Democratic Party, not because I agree with what the right has to say, but because I agree with something further left than them.
I took that. I don't know if this is a valid thing, but I took one of my friends told me to take the political compass test, and I felt like center of the left and right on the lower spectrum, not the top. Below the. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I thought I'd just clarify. I misspelled Massey. It's Massie, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I was wondering, is that like a legit thing? Like, I just don't know, man. I want to get into politics, but I'm not very well versed. And
you know what? Well, I hope that you do. I hope that you do get into politics, because I have a feeling once you start learning more, and you're not just like listening to the alt-right echo chambers. Don't do that. That's very bad. That eventually here you'll wind up in a pretty good position. And by the way, as you research, feel free to rejoin the live. Typically, I kind of say like,
Right.
one
Yeah.
person can come up one time.
Yes.
But
I'm
dude,
so sorry I
Dad-
didn't come prepared. But
No, bro,
yeah.
you're good. Like literally, if you want to go out there and try to like literally find the best arguments to explain why what you think is true, the best arguments to justify why Trump is a good president, the best arguments to justify why his policies
You
awesome.
know,
Go do
and
that
what
and
that other
rejoin
guy
and
was
have a conversation with
saying
you guys.
earlier is I don't think Trump's a great dude at all. It's he's definitely done some questionable things, and it's what you played the I don't remember if it was the one about his daughter or the 10-year-old girl. That's the one, dude. It's just so fucking weird, man. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you can cuss on here.
Yeah, you could cuss.
But it's extremely weird. It's extremely weird.
Well, it's not just questionable or weird. It's just downright archaic, barbaric, and disgusting,
nasty.
putrid
Yeah,
immoralities. But I said, I'm gonna go to move on to the next guest at this point.
Yes.
Please, feel free to on your own time, try to find good reason for what you believe in and why, and feel free to rejoin. And I could have I'm down to have multiple conversations with you.
Of course. Thank you for having me up.
Yeah, you take care. All right, we're gonna go to move on to the next guest. Hopefully we hear from that guy again. I really hope that we hear from that guy again. That was a refreshing conversation. There's a lot of hope for that guy. There's a lot of hope for that guy. And what's great is that guest kind of represents a lot of people. Like on social media, we never see them because they don't get the clicks. They don't drive the rage baity attention. So usually who we see is like, the crazies, right? But there's a lot of people like that.
Look, you could spend thousands hiring a professional video editor, or you could use Animoto to create pro-quality videos yourself in minutes, which means you'd have plenty of budget left for more important things like hiring a personal hype squad to give employees a standing ovation every time they send an email. Seems like an easy choice to me. Sign up for free and start dragging and dropping your way to professional videos fast.
Taxes was feeling unwelcome. Now Taxes is an open door to new TurboTax stores. Meet our experts. They do your taxes, so you can walk out with confidence. Now this is Taxes.
That's Chaz loading up into the box. Hey Matt, thank you for the $5. Who says, at first I wanted to call you out for saying libbed out about college, but honestly, you've helped this guest out so much. Yeah, dude. Well, I was just trying to be honest. Like my school was libbed the fuck out, and I loved it. I loved it. Then Kalia, thank you for the $2. Who says trans people literally cannot get passports right now. Yeah, dude, literally fucking dead ass. Okay. And then Valkyrie, thank you for the $10 on Venmo. Says here's $10 for some Cheez-Its. Tell Momo I said I'll make sure to tell her, Valkyrie. Thank you. And then Shelby, thank you for the $10. Who says these people are whack. Never stop doing what you're doing. Oh, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate that. Show some love to Shelby down below. And then Lift and Gear, thank you for the $1 over on PayPal. He says, hey, Dean, I started as a Republican, but your streams pushed me a bit towards the Democratic Party at first. Oh, let's read the rest of the message here. But then after watching longer, I ended up solidly Republican again. I still enjoy your streams, though. That sounds like some rage bait to me if I've ever seen it. And then Emily, thank you. Thank you so much for the $25 over on PayPal. Yo, let's get 250 Emily W's down below in that comment section. Thank you so much, Emily. Emily says, I usually don't say, quote unquote, doing the Lord's work, end quote, as a joke, but I really do mean it with you. Thank you for standing up. And thank you for doing all that you do for what's right. Well, thank you so much for the love, Emily. Those are incredibly kind words. And thank you so much for your support. And then another Emily, thank you for the $20, who says, I absolutely love your debates. I've been watching for a while now. I love to do it while I'm painting. Oh, dude, these streams are super fun to listen to while you're doing something else. Deadass. Show some love to the two Emily's. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then Atticus with the $15, who says, thank you for standing up for the trans community. As a trans guy in Florida, I hope to use my voice the same way you do. Atticus, please use your voice. Be outspoken, okay? Right? You certainly don't have to, because trans people being outspoken has resulted in incredibly terrible things. You don't have to be the only one putting the legwork in, but I mean, if you want to use your voice, please do. It's very, very important. And then Marlene, thank you for the $25, who says, love everything you do. I've been watching you since 2024. Dude, that's awesome, Marlene. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the $25. Let's get 300 Marlene W's. And then Winter, thank you for the $15, who says, thank you for all that you do, Dean. Thank you so much, Winter. And then Nevaeh, thank you for the $25, who says, my grandma's 89 years old. She married an American and moved to the U.S. in 1960. She's here legally on a green card, as a green card holder, but never got U.S. citizenship out of her having pride in the fact that she's British. She's lived and worked here for decades. Should she be worried about ICE? Also, love you. If she has an active green card, she definitely could be like unjustly like detained by ICE. Like we've seen that in many scenarios. But I don't think that she should be worried to the point of being deported. Just stay safe, stay vigilant. You know what I mean? And then Michaela, thank you for the $10 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Ellie, thank you for the $10 on PayPal. Huge shout out to you. Then Christina with the $10 who says, in Denmark, we get paid for school. #Teen for president. Base, W Denmark as per usual. And then Fussy, thank you for the $25 who says, do you agree that AI will eventually crash due to companies heavily investing upon it, similar to the housing bubble and .com crash? I'd say it's a big potentiality, but I don't know for sure, nor do I think I'm educated enough in order to tell you with good reason one way or the other. Thank you guys for the love. Show some love to all the donors. If you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on my TikTok account. Handles at the top of the phone screen, and it's also pinned on that pin message over on YouTube. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
I'm actually a 19-year-old from England, but I have a great point to make.
Man, I always feel bad doing that because, you were very patient there. You waited with me there for a moment. But we are only looking to talk to American adults that support Trump. What's up, man? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do. Kind of.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
What year were you born in?
05.
Okay. And then what year were you born? Sorry, what month were you born in?
December.
Why do you support Trump?
I support some of the things that he is doing. I feel like a lot of things are getting out of hand, such as ICE. I've seen some news articles and videos of people injusticely getting detained or deported from ICE. I do support the whole getting illegals out of the country because, I mean, if you come to the country illegally, you are breaking the law.
Okay, so we should remove people from the country that break the law. So then why shouldn't we remove Trump from the White House for breaking the law?
I honestly don't think he should be in the White House from the points that you have been making.
Okay, so you don't totally support him as president then?
Yes and no. I mean, I did vote for him.
Point of confliction.
I'm sorry?
A point of confliction.
As a woman, I don't support him as a man regarding the fact of what he has done for women and what he has done to women. And I don't agree with how he is as a person.
So then what is
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to end up sounding like the British dad.
What is there to support? I'm just confused. I don't really feel like I'm hearing an argument. What is there to support about him?
The ICE getting people that came into the country illegally, but doing it in the correct fashion and the correct taking your time, looking at people.
I don't think that we should deport all undocumented immigrants. I think that undocumented immigrants without like a violent crime or pretty insidious nonviolent crime on the record should be able to stay here because it's beneficial to them and it's beneficial to us. If it hurts no one and only helps everyone, why shouldn't we do it?
I do agree with that. People that have actual like records that have done bad things that came into the country illegally, that did bad things in our country.
You agree with the Democrats?
I'm sorry?
You agree with the Democrats?
Yes, I don't agree with the whole protesting and everything that's going on, though.
They're protesting the bad things that ICE is doing that you just disavowed, which is good.
Yes,
we should protest bad things. It's what
Yes,
the First
but
Amendment
some
right
of these
guarantees us the
protests is
ability to do.
are getting out of hand, and that's
Okay,
what
well,
I don't
think what
agree
really
with.
got out of hand was Agent Jonathan Ross murdering Renee Good, then having it defended by the state, then having the state force the FBI to be unwilling to cooperate. Okay, with the local DA's office in Minnesota. I mean, I think the way that we make our voices heard are through, constitutional protest. I think that general strikes are a good thing. I think that this protest is a good thing. But like once again, what I'm saying here is that you're arguing that you might support Trump because you support the removal of undocumented immigrants with pretty insidious crimes on their records. Okay, so do the Democrats. The Democrats actually did it to a higher level because they more narrowly focused on disproportionately just them, contrast to Trump, who's focusing on everyone all at once, which is the reason why 70% of his deportations are of undocumented immigrants with no criminal record whatsoever.
Okay, I think the reason why I didn't want to fall in the Democratic area was because I also didn't really do much research for the Democratic area, but I don't agree with having.
You know that you could be like an anti-Trump Republican, right? Like just because you don't want to side with the Democrats doesn't mean that you do have to side with Trump.
Okay. Yeah, I feel that way. But I feel like since I voted for him, I'm like at fault kind of, but I mean like so many other people voted for him as well.
That's true. I mean, if anything, that gives you all the more reason to be more outspoken.
Can you define that? Like, what do you mean outspoken?
Like to speak up, be more pissed about what's going on because you're like partially at fault since you voted for him. It's like if anything, you should be the most pissed out of all of us. You should be the most outspoken out of all of us. You should be the strongest advocate out of all of us since you share some of the responsibility for creating an environment in which allowed it to occur by voting for him in the first place. That doesn't give you more reason to just kind of deny it, more reason to swipe it under the rug, more reason to reject said fault and still support him. All right, hop on the front lines. Help us, okay? Let's try to get this tyrannical wannabe dictator out of office. People matter, especially the people that he's hurting. Women, girls, trans people, black and brown people, immigrants, the working class, low class, fuck everyone. He's hurting every single person in at least one way.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I did want to ask a question for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
If you would have voted, I'm guessing you would have voted for Kamala, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What was some of the points that she was making that you agreed with?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with the ones that may be the most beneficial, like you and me, as young Americans. Buying a house for the first time. She ran on a $25,000 subsidy for first-time home buyers. Okay, so if you were to buy a house, if I was to buy a house, we would just get it $25,000 off. New parents too, her increase in the child tax credit was awesome. That would be awesome. I mean, she proposed $6,000 for the first year of a child's life, $3,600 from the second to the fifth, and then $3,000 from the fifth to the 17th. Those were good. Not to mention the tax cuts for the 120 million American workers and the low and the middle class compared to Trump, who's just taking their money away. She was also proposing pretty financially responsible policy. The total net cost of all of her policy, well, actually, gross cost of all of her policy, was projected to be around 2.3 trill. But then she found a way to increase our revenues by 1.3 trill over the course of the next 10 years by increasing the corporate tax rate by 4%, save the government $500 billion over the course of the next 10 years by giving Medicaid a greater renegotiability with private pharmaceutical companies, on top of much more. And maybe the most relevant, that I really care about a whole lot, would be codifying federal protections for every woman and girl's right to choose access to abortion.
I do agree with that. The abortion thing is something that I do agree should be in everyone and anyone's. It should be a choice that is made, not a choice that is made by the country or the government.
Yeah, you just sound like a Democrat who doesn't know that you're a Democrat.
I just don't know much about the Democratic Party. I mean, all of the news that I've been fed my whole life has been the right wing, and I just never looked into the Democratic or left party.
Yeah,
I've only.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Learn. It is worthwhile, okay? For the sake of the future of this country, The stakes are as high as they've ever been in modern American history for you to learn, to be involved, to be outspoken. Okay, I forget where this came from. It was an old saying that, well, if the people under dictatorial rule have food and entertainment, they'll just let it slide and ignore it. And I feel like it's especially true in America today, where we just see all this tyranny raining down from the federal government, the Trump administration, the executive branch. Yet, the average American, apolitical American, has their food, they have their entertainment, and they're good to go. And they just kind of stay out of it. They ignore it. Maybe they know a little bit here and there because of what their family might say, but when it comes time to vote, they either don't vote at all or they make an uninformed decision when the stakes are just so incredibly high. I think the statement is, quote unquote, give them circuses and bread, and they'll pay no mind, which is exactly what I believe a lot of Americans have done.
I do agree with that. What is there anything that Trump did or has done that you do agree with or you kind of agree with?
Yeah, I'll answer this question, then I'm probably going to move on to the next guest and just recommend that you seriously do your research and pay more attention. I was a fan of the expedited approval of the COVID vaccine, but that benefit was kind of outweighed because he then turned around and told people to drink bleach to kill it, and that masks were bad, which killed more people. But I hope you have a good rest of your day, Samantha. Hello? Did she just happen to lag out at the same time I was going to move on? I think she did. Well, that's unfortunate. I hope that she heard the answer to my last statement, to her last question. Sorry. And Jessica, if you could still happen to hear me, dude, please get more involved. Do your research. I mean, it sounds like the guest before you probably is in a similar position to yourself. I feel like if you do that research, you're going to make it out of the other end of that tunnel, being quite blue. Mason, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, who says, we need to get Phil back in here. It feels highly episodic. We are waiting for him to learn to be chilled. His prophecy will become fulfilled. That's good, Mason. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are not fucking with Phil. In fact, one of the top comments on the live stream VOD from yesterday was, oh, Phil, I got to click out. So I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's just kind of the same thing every day, but sometimes his crash outs, I don't know. I find them a little entertaining. It's a nice break from the insanity, but I mean, to what end? Like when will we just start kind of ignoring it, and seek of better enlightenment for real Trump supporters whose minds might be changed. Moving on to the next guest, y'all only hop inside of that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. Follow the rules of the live, please. I'd highly appreciate it. We got that next guest, Eden, loading up into the box. Hi, do you support Trump? Eden, hello? Eden's not here. It looks like we got a bunch of people in the queue who are just like completely AFK. Completely AFK. Hey, what's up? Do you support Trump?
Yeah. Really cool, man. I'm with you, man.
Zay, I'm sorry, dude. I couldn't hear literally anything that you said. You were lagging out, dude. Yo, Fussy, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo. I appreciate that answer, of course, dude. And then Jackson, thank you so much for the $15 over on Venmo. Show some love to Jackson down below. That is JAXON. Jackson says, hey, Dean, me and my whole friend group love what you do and love what you stand for. Please shout out Allison, Azalea, and Angela. Well, dude, huge shout out to Allison, Azalea, Angela, and Jackson. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Y'all are awesome, awesome, awesome. Then Karen, thank you for the 10, who says, I was in Minneapolis last weekend protesting. It was a war zone. But not because of us protesters. ICE was brutal to everyone, including the protesters and immigrants alike. Please stay safe, Karen. And then one more here, Abby. That is ABBI. Thank you. Thank you so much for the $10. She says, hey, Dean, thank you for helping me through a lot of mental struggles and helping me get the confidence to do things for myself. From Abby. Dude, that's awesome, Abby. I'm happy that the streams have been able to help you out. Seriously, putting a big old smile on my face. That's why I do what I do. One of the many reasons. Welcome in. Do you support Trump? Raymond, we got you connected to the live stream, my friend. Where are you at? Are you here? Are you here? Quite frankly, are you here? I guess not. Goodbye, Raymond. Dude, where are the Trump supporters at? Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Where are they? Where are the Trump supporters? I feel like they just went away. They disappeared. They're nowhere to be seen. All the Trump supporters are gone. They're all gone. They're all gone, quite frankly. I'm going to try my best here to find anyone, dude. I'm going to try my best to find anyone. Folks, give me a second. We'll get Sam up in here.
Build a website you love with Wix, where your words create your brand, your opportunity, your
That
shit did.
You didn't get rich?
I did not get rich.
Oh man, sorry. No, I'm not gonna give you a refund because I have to stay a multi-billionaire myself. Remember, 90% of my income is generated off of the e-rich lifestyle. 90, 95, 99. No refund. No refund. And by the way, the reason why the course failed you is because of your own ego. Your ego is the problem. Moving on to the next guest. All right, I'm done trolling. Hop inside of that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump. And seriously, Paige, thank you for the $40. She says, your lives are so educational and eye-opening. I love watching and learning something. Sending love from the UK. Well, love to the UK and love to you, Paige. Thank you so much for the incredibly kind words and the $40. Show some love to Paige down below in that comment section. Thank you so much. Then Rebecca with a 10 who says, hey, Dean, sorry for trolling you a while ago. Well, it's okay. Marlene, thank you for the 5. Then Charlene, thank you for the 5 as well. Show some love to Marlene and Charlene. Thank you. And then let's see here. Ellie, thank you for the $2. Okay. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up into the box here, folks. Only hop inside of that queue of your MAGA. Follow the rules, please, for the love of God. For the love of God, follow the rules. We're just looking for MAGA. By the way, if you're watching, let me know how your day's been so far. Let me know if you have any plans over the weekend. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing this weekend? What's up? Do you support Trump?
My husband does.
Is he with you?
He's outside doing the gardening, actually. I'm in Australia, and I'm gathering you're in America.
I am. Are you like interested in seeing like if I'd be down to talk to your husband?
Oh, he'd probably love to because he thinks Trump is absolutely amazing. So that is totally his gig. And I guess I don't have a political background, so I don't live in the political landscape.
You know what? Here's the thing. So I'd be down because this is a debate live. I'm down to debate your husband if he wants to do that. Usually I only talk to people like in America, but I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. So if he wants to tap on the mic, feel free to throw him on. But I mean, if you're just coming up here to like share that with me to talk real quick, let me know because I can just move on to the next guest since we're looking for debates.
So you're looking for debates for Trump. So are you a Trump supporter?
No, I hate Trump.
Interesting. Okay, so you're very good at looking at both sides of the coin. So you're in my camp and my husband's in the other camp. Hey, that's pretty interesting.
Hey, yeah. Well, do you want me to talk?
Because I don't think Trump is helping Australia at all. So I think Trump is really turning Australia inside out. So because it's costing us a fortune. Because I'm about to bring a dog in from America, and it's costing me triple the amount to bring this dog in because of Trump's ideas. So I'm kind of on the fence.
Well, I would like to repeat here that this is a debate live. So we do try to focus on top of the people that do support Trump. If you want to throw your husband on the mic, I'd love to talk to him. If not, I'm probably going to move on to the next guest, but I appreciate you.
Well, it was lovely meeting you. Take care. Have a great day.
Yeah, you as well. You know what? She's chill. She's chill as hell. All right. We're still trying to find that next Trump supporter. Let's go to move on to the next guest. Okay. Well, where'd they all go? This guy's name is Jared. We'll bring Jared up here. You guys in the chat are spamming Phil. Dude, Phil's not even here, man. He's probably like punching a hole through his wall. You know, we spoke to Brock for a little bit yesterday. Brock is still just as insufferable as always. Yo, John, thank you for joining the channel team over on YouTube. Appreciate that. Thank you. There's actually a couple gifted subs there. Was that from John? No, that was from Mad Daddy Moonshine. Appreciate you for the 5 gifted memberships over on that YT stream. Appreciate that. What's up? Do you support Trump? Angie is not here. Bro, what's going on? I just feel like we have so much like dead air time. You know, it's really hard here to find someone to debate. Plus, I got to use a bathroom, and none of my friends are free. Highly unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. We're going to try our best here. How do you support Trump?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How old are you, Dylan?
I'm 29.
All right. Why do you support and who's in my mind literally the worst president of your life?
I hear you. I just like God, guns, and freedom. But I was curious. Obviously, Malcolm X, right? His movement back in the day.
Who?
Malcolm X.
Oh, Malcolm. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what he says about? Have you heard his speech about the white liberal versus the white Republican?
I haven't personally listened to it. Of course, I've seen it. I've seen it quoted.
I think it's pretty common in today, right? So the white Democrat is going to side with. Right now, they're siding with African Americans, the LGBTQ community, and all these communities, right, that are protesting and everything. And they're acting as their friends, but in reality, they're just using them as pawns.
Okay.
They're just stacking their numbers up.
Yeah. So you think that I just want to use black people as pawns?
I'm not saying no, right? But the politics or political figures that are out there, they are siding with them, right, to raise them up and to create a voter, right?
Here's the thing. Historically, I think that bell rings true in many scenarios. Not gonna lie. Okay, I'm a critique. I do critique the Democratic Party and the DNC. I think that bell has rung true many times, historically speaking. However, what I'd argue is that I think that we continually watch the Democratic Party become more and more progressive. I mean, we just had Mr. Zohran Mamdani win the mayoral race out in New York City. I think that really changed a lot, and I hope that it continues to change a lot. But I also want to point out here that a progressivism, which isn't identical to liberalism or the institution of the Democratic Party, is what brought about civil rights, is what continues to bring about a fight for the marginalized, is what continues to bring a fight against, the oppression that we see disproportionately being perpetuated by the strong arm of the right with the MAGA movement today. Detaining black and brown people because of the color of their skin, hoping that they could send them down to CCOT and have them tortured. So, and one last point here, if you truly care about, black and brown people, I just don't possibly see how you could ever support the guy that called them all lazy, ever support the guy that was sued for refusing to rent to them because of their race, that support the guy who continued to call for 5 of their death penalties after they were exonerated, and support the guy that's treating them like such shit today in so many different ways. Probably take me 15 minutes to get through it all.
No, I hear you. And I just want to bring up another point, right? So you said earlier that illegal immigration is not hurting us, right? So
yeah, I think that offering undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship helps. Us does not hurt us. I think that deporting undocumented immigrants hurts us, does not help us.
So a pathway, right? I served in the Army, active duty Army for 10 years. A pathway to citizenship that many people utilize.
Enumerate the harm, please.
So if you look at Amazon, right? They're offering all these services, right? What if a company comes in and lowballs their profits? So all these companies jump off and they go with another company. That's pretty much what illegal immigration is doing. I offer my services at $60 an hour, but you got somebody that's coming in that will offer their services at $19 an hour, and they're going to do it quicker, right? But the thing is, they're illegal, so they're getting paid under the table. So all these companies are avoiding taxes and all these other fees just by throwing money under the table to illegal immigration.
So point number one, what you just described is called capitalism. Wow, it sounds like we got a crazy communist on the live. And then second of all, it's actually illegal for companies to pay their employees under the table. And in fact, you should be very thankful for Obama to create work programs for undocumented immigrants so they could get permits to work over the table and pay taxes on ITINs. Another point I'll bring up here is, well, if you want less undocumented immigrants to work under the table, I'm led to believe that they probably do at higher rates than citizens, because when they pay taxes, they don't get anything back from it. They can't get a return, okay? They can't access Medicaid, Medicare, any federal systems of social benefits, and they can only access limited benefits in 10 over 50 states, so why the fuck would they? They probably do work under the table at higher levels. Offer them a pathway to residency or citizenship. All of a sudden, they're a resident, they're a citizen, okay? They have no more incentive than you or I to work under the table, because they could reap the benefit of what they pay. They could file that tax return, claim Section 8, food stamps, CBT, Medicaid, Medicare if they need it. And all of a sudden, that competition of yours that's able to offer their services for lower rates because they work under the table goes away. You just actually described how mass amnesty, a progressive policy, would benefit you and your life.
So how, if it's illegal for companies to pay under the table, how are undocumented immigrants getting paid legally?
ITINs, individual taxpayer identification numbers, are a tool that anyone could get from the IRS, regardless if they're an undocumented immigrant or not, work over the table as a W-2 employee and pay taxes.
Okay. I didn't know about ITINs, but everything I've experienced firsthand is under the table payment.
I mean, I think I've seen a lot of people firsthand getting paid under the table, but quite frankly, everyone that I know that's getting paid under the table is a citizen. That doesn't really sound like a problem that would be mutually exclusive to any one demographic.
Yeah, last thing, I just want you to bring up Saddam.
Who's Saddam?
A guy, I don't know, he's in the chat. He wants to debate.
Is it a Trump supporter begging to come up?
Yeah, do it.
Maybe I'll have to make him wait longer then. But you wanted to end the debate there? Like, can you please respond to the point that I brought up to demonstrate that it is the case that mass amnesty would benefit you and your life?
I'm a firm, if you want citizenship, do it the right way, right? Legally. And if you want to...
So you're saying that even though it would benefit you and your life, you still don't support it because of law and order?
Yeah.
Okay. So then why the fuck are you supporting the 34 count felon as president, but arguing that you don't care about those felonies because he benefits you? That's so fucking hypocritical. Oh, I just got to disregard the fact that Donald Trump's an adjudicated rapist, 34 count felon, a proven fraudster that tried to overturn our government in 2020 and now in the last year has infringed on the Constitution 4 times because he benefits me in my life and makes this country better. But then as soon as it's undocumented immigrants, even though offering them a pathway to residency or citizenship
For those who are wondering,
and make my life better, I still think we shouldn't do it because of law and order. That is just very hypocritical and very contradictory.
Dumbass of TikTok.
So law and order, what about the Clintons?
And now,
what about the fucking Clintons? Want to pivot? Answer my question.
What was your question? Go ahead and reiterate.
Yeah, you said that you don't think a pathway to residency or citizenship for undocumented immigrants would be a good thing because although it would benefit your life, you believe in law and order and you need to hold all criminals accountable. Okay, so then why do you make a 34 count felon adjudicated rapist that has infringed on our Constitution 4 times in the last year on top of other civil adjudication suits for lying about the valuation of his properties or defrauding his own charity or not renting to black people or intentionally concealing classified documents at his private estate in Mar-a-Lago? If it's all about law and order, why do you support Trump in consideration of all these facts and more, like pardoning domestic terrorists, pardoning narco terrorists, pardoning attempted would-be cop killers? Why?
So do you believe in our justice system?
Do I believe in our justice system? Not when Trump is in charge. I mean, we just heard our justice system. The DOJ argued in court last fucking week, that they do not have to abide by this law that Congress passed because that law doesn't describe any clear consequences or punishments if they don't.
So if you support our justice system, he would be in jail right now if these charges or allegations that you are bringing up are factual, right? Because the last 4 years,
you don't know anything about civil courts. Civil courts don't send people to jail. They make them forced to pay financial restitution. And the reason why his sentence for the felonies was no jail time is because by the time his sentencing came around, he was already president for the second time, and that just started a national crisis of sending the current sitting president to jail. So what a bad talking point.
I don't know. You're just kind of ranting. You're
No, I
getting a
wasn't
little
ranting. I was
frustrated.
refuting your view.
Yeah, I just think if he was a true felon, he wouldn't be president because you cannot be a felon or you cannot have a felony and be president at the same time. So,
Oh, would you support him if he was a felon?
if he sat in court, a jury, a verdict comes out guilty that he's a rapist and all these other shits.
No, just say that
I
he's a
would not
felon. Just that he's a felon.
prove he's a felon. The Justice Department.
Prove that he's a felon? If he was a felon, would you stop supporting him?
I mean, he's a president. I'm going to support the president because I'm going to support United States success.
Okay, but supporting the success of the country would mean to not support a president if they're hurting the country. But I mean, you just literally said that he wouldn't be able to become the president if he was a felon. So obviously, if he was a felon, you wouldn't support him as a president, right?
I mean, I'm going to support the guy because he's the president.
Regardless of what he does.
I supported.
Regardless,
Hunter
so
Biden.
so you just support Trump as president, regardless of what he does, because he's the president. He can do anything. He could do anything as a president, as long as he's the president. You'll support him, is what you're saying.
If it was, I mean, Biden's. Whenever he was, I was not over here talking shit about.
Can
Biden
you just answer the question? You would support the president regardless of what they do.
No, I would not.
Okay, so then obviously just arguing that because he's the president is not sufficient reason to support him. And then by the way, you're saying, oh, well, he's not a felon or else he wouldn't be president. Yeah, he is, buddy. He was found guilty of 34 felonies by a criminal court in New York years ago.
So how is he the president?
Because you could be a felon and serve as president. Because you fucking voted for him. That's why.
I'll look it up. But go ahead and pull Saddam in, yeah?
Well, it sounds like somebody just wants to bow out, run away.
I'm not running away, no. I mean, go ahead. So a pathway to citizenship. Why would what's an illegal immigrant?
Oh, okay. I want to ask you this one question. What's one thing that Trump could do that make you stop supporting him?
If the Epstein files comes out and he's a fucking pred, yeah, fuck that guy.
Guess what this is? This is a civil adjudication sheet, verdict form from the jury, where all 9 jurors agreed that he raped.
When was this?
2023.
So why isn't mass media on this?
It was. You just only pay attention to Fox News.
No, I don't pay attention to any news, to be honest. I mean,
okay. Well, yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, this is kind of going nowhere.
But I mean, you just said that you stopped supporting him if he was a pred. This court proved that he was a pred, right?
I'll look it up. I'll do a little more research.
Let's just do it together right now. What else do you need to see? What else do you want to know?
I don't know.
What else do you want to know? Just tell me. I'll be your Google. I'll be your Google.
Every day, people just like you launch global brands from their bedroom. The barriers are gone. You don't need permission. With Printful, your brand could be ready tomorrow. So why is
True.
And you studied, what did you study in school?
Philosophy.
Philosophy. Okay.
True.
And what do you plan on being when you grow up?
I think that you're looking at it.
This
Obviously not in the same form of running 4-hour debate streams on TikTok, but something in politics. Be outspoken to make this country and world a better place. Now, I ask you to please stop pivoting. Now, please tell me what you need to know about the Trump v. E. Jean Carroll court case. How about I just try to tell you everything I think you would need to know? So E. Jean Carroll claimed that she was raped by Donald Trump in late 1995 or early 1996. Once her parents died, 2019, she wrote a book, and in that book it included her saying that Donald Trump raped her. Donald Trump read that book, called her crazy. He called her a lunatic, defamed her. Then she said, "Oh, fucking guilty." All 9 jurors agreed that yes, he did rape her. He did forcefully penetrate her female member with his fingers. The corroborating evidence was A, therapist notes from the 90s where she indicated that it was true that she was raped by Donald J. Trump. B, 7 women, a handful of those were her friends who said that she had told them this story over the course of, the last 20 years. The 5 other women were other women that testified to the fact that Donald Trump did this to them too. See, the dress that she was raped in, she said that it still has DNA on it, submitted it to the court. Court confirmed to add unknown male DNA, asked Trump for his DNA to test it against the DNA on the dress. And then Donald Trump said, no, hell no, you can't have my DNA. D, the inconsistencies and lies within Donald Trump's own testimony. Claimed he never met her. She responded with a picture of them together, claimed that he would never do that to her because she wasn't his type. And was educating. You said that you need to look up more about the case, so I just told you everything about the case. It's like, what else do you need to know about the case to know that Donald Trump is a rapist and that you'd stop supporting him if that were true? I feel like you're just kind of like arguing willful ignorance, dude.
I am not a Trumper. I am right-leaning.
You just said that I'm TDS because I was like sharing facts with you. Definitely, like highly cult-like.
I know. So I'm gonna go ahead and pivot. Right? Why is it okay to celebrate Kirk's death, right? And then you got the ICE incident. Was it Minneapolis? And
bro, this guy knows
everyone's
nothing,
crying about this.
This guy knows nothing about me, or else you want to be asking me that question. So you're completely just pivoting. Why are you pivoting? You said that you'd stop supporting Donald Trump as president if he was a predator. I proved that he was a predator. Why do you still support him? This is sad.
Because he's the commander-in-chief, brother.
Bro, but you said that you'd stop supporting the commander-in-chief if they raped a woman.
I mean, I'm gonna support the United States left and right. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, but dude, you're actually an idiot if you think that supporting the worst president of your lifetime that is destroying the United States of America is then in turn being a patriot. There's nothing patriotic about supporting the guy that wants to circumvent Congress and circumvent SCOTUS. There's nothing patriotic about supporting the guy that took healthcare away from 10 million low-income Americans and increased the premium by 300%